everybody and welcome back to my channel. Selena here and you are watching So Small. Today's video is all about my makes from March. Now I think the best place to start is with what I'm wearing. For those of you who have subscribed to my channel or watched my videos before, you will recognise that this was one of the fabrics I had as an option for my Frugal Frocks dress. Now, if you do not remember, the Frugal Frocks was a challenge set up by two lovely ladies here on YouTube and on Instagram. They were Sam, Frugalissima, and Rowan, who is the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and they were challenging everybody out there to get into their fabric stash. So the fabric had to be from your stash, to go find a free pattern. It could have been off the internet, a PDF, or maybe one you got free with a magazine, to make your dress up in the month of March and then to reveal it on March 31st. So I had an option where I could have had a woven pattern, which were some free ones I'd got with some magazines, or I had this knit fabric that I really liked, and then I had two knit options. I ended up going with the Hala Agnes swing dress, and it was such an easy make. This dress has 4 pattern pieces. You have a front, a back, the sleeve pattern, and a neckband. Those were, well, so it was 5 pieces, and actually I think it was only 3 pattern pieces in the pattern. I opted not to put the pockets in. I've gone for a slightly more tighter fitting along the hips, so I then didn't want pockets coming in and distorting that line. I went for the maxi length, though I am slightly shorter than the pattern. I didn't quite have enough fabric, so when I made this up, because the front and back pieces were one piece put together and you cut it out twice, I ended up folding my fabric doubled up again, so it was in half because it was cut on the fold, and then I folded it in half again, so I had all 4 layers stacked, so I could then lay the piece up, and I knew I would get the same length for front and back. So I had to fold up the bottom of my pattern piece in order to get the length required for the fabric. So that's how I, slightly shorter. I've taken it in at the waist and the hip slightly, just to give it that more snug feel, which is the image I found online that I really liked and inspired by. I went for long sleeves because I thought that would be a good mix for the spring summer. I'm on the more cold scale for body temperature. This is my Agnes swing dress. This fabric is so soft to wear. I love it. I've lived in this dress so much since I wore it. It was really hard not to have any pictures taken before the reveal. I even had enough, because of the width of the fabric, I managed to squeeze out a matching dress for my daughter. I say matching, it's a poppy and jazz pansy dress. That's a tried and tested pattern for me. I've made her quite a few pansy dresses over the years now. I've gone for a 2 to 3 in this one, so I'll put a picture in here. So whereas my fabric, the pattern tends to run that horizontal, on hers the fabric runs vertical, but I used that one as my So Yellow for Endo because of the nice bright yellow patches in the material. So that was my So Yellow for Endo entry to help support endometriosis awareness. So that was a challenge set up by the lovely Jess. She is on YouTube and Instagram as So What If I Sew. She's a lovely, bubbly personality, and she did some amazing work last month to really promote endometriosis awareness. So I felt really pleased that I could help out 3 lovely ladies with 2 great challenges with this one piece of fabric. So I've got more photos of my Agnes dress from when I took it for reveal day. I actually took the photos on March 30th because that was the gorgeous Tuesday we had here in the UK. The sun was shining. It was a really balmy random day. So I took advantage and I managed to get most of my March makes and some other makes filmed and photographed that day. So I felt really productive. So other things I have made in March. So the next dress I made was the Kilo wrap dress. I really liked this dress. As I said in my plans, I knew when I had this fabric in my stash, this is exactly the dress I wanted to make with it, and they were a match made in heaven. I think it just, the whole combination, the look, the way it sits together is brilliant. I love the diversity of the Kilo, depending on where you put the ties, how tight you tie them, where you want them. I had a little trouble making up the ties. My interfacing, and when it came to making the straps, was not an easy process. It didn't lie flat and it then kept twisting. So I spent a lot of time trying to iron it out. And I got there eventually, but they are now a good sturdy strap that allows them to sit comfortably around my waist. So very pleased with that one. So I did the long sleeved version. My pattern has the option for jumpsuit or dress. So it did take a little while to go through and try and work out which was the dress line and which was the jumpsuit line. But once I got there, it all fit really well onto the fabric I had. Sizing, guiding is pretty damn right. So pleased with that one. And I think depending how hot the summer gets, depending on how my stash is looking, I may consider making a sleeveless version because they are just so comfortable to wear. And it's definitely a good transition garment because of the length of the skirt, but still being a bit flowy, a bit loose, a bit like this one. They are comfortable on a slightly cooler day as well as they are still comfortable on a slightly warmer day. So I was very pleased with how that came out. And again, it's another dress I've been wearing. I really focused in March on creating outfits that I wanted to wear like now. This kind of coming out of lockdown, still wanting to be comfortable, but still wanting to have a good style, a little bit more upmarket than just coming out of loungewear all the time. So I think these are that meet in the middle, what people are referring to as secret pajamas because they're so comfortable. So that was make number 3. So we've had my Agnes swing dress, the Poppy and Jazz pansy dress for my daughter, and the kilo. I then managed to also make my by hand London Anna. So this dress was the dress made in this gorgeous Lisa Comfort fabric. So this was the beautiful wildflower crepe. I have the same fabric in the maroon colourway that I've made a Tilly and the Buttons indigo in before now, and so this was the fabric I used to make the Anna. What I've loved about making the Anna is I've not had to make any adjustments for height. Even actually, it could even be still considered too long for me, which I love because normally I'm having to extend patterns or justify them being slightly short. So I love the fact that the Anna was a longer pattern. For me, all I did was a slight adjustment on this pattern is I've taken it in at the waist slightly, but that's just maybe my slight difference between bust and waist ratios. Lovely instructions to sew with. I really enjoyed the kind of the wording that Elise selects and the By Hand London team as they've created the patterns they've used. It's a grown on sleeve bodice, as you can see, so construction of the bodice was really simple. I also like the fact that the Anna has a facing, but actually they don't get you to interface the facing. So it's then allowed the collar, the neck opening to be softer, and that's made that a really comfortable wear. So I really like that kind of slight difference to not having interfacing. And I've double checked on their website. I couldn't believe they never mentioned interfacing. So I checked on the website, I checked on their written sew along, and no mention of interfacing, so I didn't. And it's just made this really nice soft neck opening. I like the detail on the end of the bodice in order to create an area for your bust. So there's some pleat details here, and then really nice long panelled skirt. To make this one up, I used pinking shears. My overlocker is pretty much out of action now. I was very lucky to I bought some new needles. That was one of the issues, and I managed to get her working suitably comfortably enough to create this, of which in order to make this is long seams that I knew if I was to do it on Betty here, she would take an age with the zigzagging. So I did manage to get my overlocker working to make this one, but when I tried to make the pansy dress, she was not playing game. So edging the long skirt on the Anna, I knew that was going to again be another thread consuming, time consuming method on my sewing machine. For the really long skirt sections, I just used pinking shears, and I've been using them a lot more lately. I'm finding them much better for time efficiency, so definitely recommend pinking shears if you've got long skirt that you need to neaten the edges of your seams. So one of the other successes for March, and it's gone down really well. For the first time in a long time, I've I've put some pictures of some of my makes on Facebook. I tend to document all of my sewing journey on Instagram, so I thought I'd put a few of my latest makes on Facebook. And this jumpsuit went down a storm. Everyone loved it. So I made up the Tilly and the Buttons Marigold jumpsuit. For this one, I looked at the measurements, and for this particular made up version, I made a size 5 across the bust, and then I've tailored it in and graded it into a size 4 at the waist and the trousers. And other than that, I made no adjustments to the pattern. I've not elongated it, changed it. It was just a simple grading from a 5 bust to a 4 waist. And I really enjoyed putting it together. That fabric was beautiful to work to. It was so clean and crisp, and when you folded it or when you put it into the position you wanted to, it just went in, sewed together so nicely, and it's such a nice outfit to wear. I find it so comfortable that I've put one of those is on my to-do list for my April makes. So I am so pleased with it. The April one, I am going to make an adjustment now I've made my March one. Then I want to elongate the trousers a little bit more, make it a bit more evening-y, so less of a kind of above my ankles, more hitting my ankles, to go with a nice pair of heels. And I'm just going to give myself, I've extended the bodice a little bit just to give myself a bit more room and to hopefully just lower the waistline down a bit. I didn't need to make any adjustments to the top of the trousers, so I've extended the length in the legs, and I've altered the length of the bodice piece to create my jumpsuit. And I really cannot wait to get that one made up as well. I think they are such a comfortable, the elastic I think is what makes it the most comfortable. Means it's also easy to get in and out of, which is often a conundrum sometimes with the jumpsuit. Now when I cut this one out, I did a mass cutting day. I cut, I think other than this one, I think I pretty much cut the Anna, the Marigold. No, I think I cut them all on the same day. I just did mass cut out. So when it came to cutting up the Marigold, I laid it all out, and then I realised I knew I had a bit, but I had quite a lot left over. So I took the opportunity there while I had everything out ready to cut out. I'm going to go get the blouse pattern and then going to cut it out. So I then also made in the same fabric a sew over it Clara blouse, but I've used the sew over it Heidi sleeve because I prefer the cuff length. I've made a Clara blouse before last year, but I made a short sleeve version, the hack that Lisa had demonstrated in a sew along last year. So this time I thought I want to go for, it's a slightly thinner material to my green polka dot version. So I thought I want it to be a bit more spring summer ready. So I thought if I go for the long sleeve version, it just adds that extra bit of coverage to make it really comfortable. And I love it. It's gone really well with so many with some of the trousers and bottom makes I've got in my wardrobe already. But I can't wait to be out and about more as we are now to get all of these wonderful makes out there. Being really frugal, taking the message from my Frugal Frocks challenge, with the rest of the leftovers, I managed to squeeze out 2 accessories. So we have this simple headband. I bought a pack of blank Alice bands, and then to make this headband, I've just created a strip and gathered it up to create this kind of ruched effect. And I love this. It's simple addition to the outfit. And then I've also made up a sew over it 1970s headscarf, which was one of their lunchtime makes for March. And again, another brilliant accessory that I can kind of mix and match with the blouse and with my jumpsuit. So I'm really pleased with how they've all just come together. I love making up the Clara blouse. It's a simple shirt. It's got a series of pleat details around the neck here. It's all faced and it's got a keyhole opening. I don't tend to like buttons on the top, so I miss out the rouleau loop closure, and I just do a hook and eye across the top, and that keeps the keyhole opening. And yeah, if you follow their instructions closely, I've not had a problem yet. They're really detailed. Nicole is brilliant at writing the instructions for sew over it. They're so clear. They are, and like someone is holding your hand as you're making them. So I definitely recommend sew over it patterns. They've got really great instructions to make you feel comfortable in making up the outfits. And twice now I've made those without really having any struggles while I'm creating the garment. So very pleased. So for another, well, I would say it feels like a short month, but March being a lot longer than February, I did manage to squeeze out quite a bit in March. My April isn't feeling quite as productive, but I've got fingers crossed that my sojo is slowly starting to come back, and that for these last 2 weeks, as I'm filming this, that I will get a move on and I will have another series of great makes to film for you in April. So yeah, so we finish off March with 1, 2, 3, 4 outfits and dresses for myself. A dress for my daughter, which was on, these were all on my March plans. However, the dress for my daughter was going to be a woven dress, and I've ended up making a knit dress. And then the extra bits were those 2 scrap busting opportunities I've taken into. And I've really enjoyed kind of getting on with them then and there, rather than allowing the scraps to end up in my scrap drawers and then you forget about them and then you don't tend to go back to them. So I might have to make it that 1 month I don't plan any outfits and I just work on getting stuff out of those scrap drawers and making those my plans for a month. But these are my wonderful makes for March. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing how my plans came out after being made, and please come back and view me again. So if you do not already, please go and subscribe to my channel. Please click the notification bell so you will know when I post a new video. I've done a couple of extra videos are starting to appear on my channel and I'm hoping to make them regular features. If you also don't already, please go and follow me on Instagram. I'm still documenting my 365 days of sewing. We've reached the 100 barrier now. We've passed that. So we've done a good nearly third of the year. So I'm really pleased with how well I've kept up with that. So yeah, this is me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye.